welcome for the KOKOLIRIKO edition for the first time this week, and it's a Monday also really where we are going to be celebrating World Youth Day. And most of our conversation today will be also really dwelling around that is issues pertaining the youth, because we want to understand today is actually one of those important days a youth person out must also really honor, but to my dismay also really maybe your dismay as well. It is one of those days, I must say, is not very much honored by the youth themselves. And today you will find people celebrate birthdays, people celebrate other important days, but the youth are not celebrating the Youth Day. What does that mean? And how exactly should they take this day also out there is what we are going to be discussing today. And I will be joined by guests who are also already fellow youths in there, and today want to understand and want to analyze how this Youth Day also really should be celebrated. And remember, the national celebrations will be going on in Soroti City, and I will be also letting you know what exactly is happening in that side, where exactly also this will be going on, and who exactly are the guests who are also really expected to be on this very much important occasion in there. And I will be letting you know that is already in the next half of the hour in there, where the guests shall be joining us, and I will be letting you know that. Remember, every 12th of the month of August, the world celebrates what we call the Global Youth Day or World Youth Day, depending on how you want to call it, because somebody out there may choose to call this day Global Youth Day or World Youth Day. Still, that means the same thing, and that is where I also want to say we are going to be celebrating and joining the world in celebrating this day. And the Roa City I may not be able to celebrate today, because I do know that they will be having what we call a preparatory meeting today, and the day will also be pushed to yet another day in there, where now they will be joining the rest of the world to celebrate also really now to commemorate theirs. And that is one thing also really where I will be letting you know that later on. But I want to inform you that we are going following up on this day, and want to ask the youths also who are the majority population to also really make sure that they interest themselves in what continues to also happen in there. And remember, it was not an easy weekend, where we had a number of issues already happening, and I must say it was a dark one, where we had so many issues already happening in the country, where not only in Chitezi, but the whole country was already filled with grief, where we lost also already about 12 people in there. That was in Chitezi landfill, where garbage also already caused havoc in there. But really we want to say, may the souls of those departed, the departed ones also rest in eternal peace, and to those who also lost their dear ones also we want to say, may their souls rest in eternal peace, and to him that we come, and to him also shall we go back. And that's also what we want to always say as Muslims. We say inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un, and that's what we did see also happening in there. But we are saying we really need to also understand how exactly we need to also live together with some of these also issues that are also really dangerous to our health in there, and also to our lives as well. And that is one thing we did see happening in today's landslide, where people also lost lives in there. But that is one thing also which we did see over the weekend, and it was actually one of those biggest stories that happened over the weekend. But I must say it is quite a sad moment for those people who are within the areas of Wakiso in Chitezi who lost their lives, because it's not an easy thing. Because if you look at the garbage that comes from Kampala City, most of them is actually channel that lands that area in there, where we did see also the havoc being caused in there. But I want to say we are closely following up on that matter, where the president now also directed also for assistant help also to these families who lost their lives in there. Now that is one thing also we did see happening, and I want to say it is not an easy moment for those who are actually within that area in there, where now we are saying, now according to information we are receiving, the death toll has actually risen to about 23. That's as per yesterday in there. Now the death also from Saturday morning, also the landfill, also it is happening in Chitezi in Wakiso district, has jumped to that is 23 people also really being also really confirmed dead in there. But that is quite a sad moment, and that was what we did see also on Sunday, where President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni ordered for a probe into the tragedy in there. Could it be an issue of negligence, or it is an accident? Because usually we say accidents are accidents. These are sudden, these are unexpected happenings that just happen abruptly in there. But that is one thing where we did see the president, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, also really directing for probe into that matter in there. Now that's what we did see happening, while sort of search and rescue operations are still going on. But really for those huge chunks of garbage to really fall on you, it is not an easy thing, because we did see the garbage rolling, breaking houses, and also really claiming lives also really in there. But that is quite sad moment, and I want to say it was not an easy moment over the weekend on Saturday when this incident happened in there. I must say, up to date, people are still in grief, and also we have seen families losing their dear ones, where it was already on over the weekend. And I want to say we had also school age going children who were home by that time. Some also already died in this accident in there. That's why we're saying as we are celebrating this Youth Day, we must put also the families who got affected in that incident also in our prayers in there. Now that's one thing we did see, where we did see also Museveni ordering for IG to commence also investigations into the matter, and also in what could have happened in the collapse of garbage in there. And that's something we did see happening, where we did see also the KCS spokesperson coming out to also make communication on this, and that's something also we did see happening now, where IG also came out and said that they are going to be carrying out the investigation to the matter. Investigations to the matter have already commenced in there, but now what exactly happened? Could these people also sense the danger in what could have also transpired? Maybe what could also await ahead of them, because we have a sole Ministry of Disaster and Preparedness, and I want to say the minister for this sole purpose actually was on Saturday in there. That is Lady Naber, who actually rushed to the scene in there and also was with the people. We could also see her together with other legislators also camping in there, where area member parliament also was among also people who were up to till evening in there. And that is one thing which we are still following up on, and we want to say may the souls of those dear ones also rest in the eternal peace, because we are saying it is not an easy thing, because you may be saying that is happening in Kampala, in Chitezi, or in Wakiso particular, but we are saying all what happens in there continues to happen elsewhere. It continues to affect everybody, and that's why we must be very, very much cautious in there, because recently we also saw Arua City choking of garbage, where many people were complaining that garbage is causing a lot of problems to them, and many people actually came out to complain and disregard also the issues also happening to garbage also in there. And that is why we are saying issues pertaining garbage must be given also a priority in there, because as I was interacting with this former municipality mayor, that is Charles Asiki, also he was able to also narrate that managing garbage is actually one of those activities that is very, very much tedious in there, and which also calls for a lot of focus, because each and every time these cities and these urban centers are generating garbage, and where does this garbage go to? It is actually taken to the dumping site. So in Arua City, it is in the water and the road district in there. But now, how do you make sure that the garbage that is being dumped does not pose what we call a threat to also life in there? Because it may be now as clearly manifested and also as clearly seen. It could just be as a roll, and when it rolls on, it can break out. We're saying homesteads around garbage areas must be also for some distance. And what about, we are talking about pollution, and in terms of also the air and also the filth, and also really these are things that also we need to mind about as we are also talking about garbage management in there. And that's where we are saying from this, because what happens in Chitezi could also happen elsewhere, and that's why we're saying they should also give keen interest when it comes to issues pertaining garbage management, because garbage management, by the way, is one of those also where we need to sort of put a lot of resources. And in the budget, this is where I want to sort of ask the local governments now to give keen interest or keen priority to manage garbage. And in Arua City, with also the increase in population, garbage management also is going to be increasing, because each and every time when the population is high, the garbage generators is already going to be in higher tons in there. And that's why we're saying people must mind also of the garbage that they're going to be disposing. If at all, maybe you cannot also really keep that garbage properly, you should do one thing. All you need to do is make sure that you burn the garbage. Just find also the alternatives of burning this garbage, not necessarily also waiting for the trucks to come and transport maybe to dumping sites in there, because you can still also avoid the works of also making people also do that work in there. But I want to say garbage that is generated from Kampala in Wakiso already entirely in there has actually been dumped in this place called Chitezi, which is actually one of those suburbs in Wakiso in there. But how do we make sure that really such instances do not occur is where we also really need to mind of the strategy in there, because if at all we're not doing that, then definitely we are going to be still seeing many people already facing challenges in there, because that is one of the stories that actually made the weekend in there. Now we are going to be taking it the first commercial break, and the guest also really shall be joining us on set as well after the short commercial break, and where we are going to be discussing issues pertaining the Global Youth Day. And I hope also the youths out there must now be waiting and understand what exactly they need to do so to change their lives in, and why must they also engage themselves in also the issues pertaining decision making. That conversion comes up next. Stay tuned as we get back to you shortly.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region. 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 West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from that long commercial break. We are back with the discussions, and it's a Monday, the 12th of the month of August, and it's also already World Youth Day. And today we are talking about the youth being the majority population, and why must they honor celebrating this day is where we are going to be starting off with the discussions in this half of the hour, and which we shall be also really doing up to the hour of 9 o'clock. And we want to understand how best we can also really make sure the youth engage themselves in issues also really of decision making, and why is it important for them to also really utilize what we call spaces for decision making, also very, very much important in there. And recently we did see also youth coming onto the streets also to condemn the corruption in the country, and also really, I believe they can now use other alternative means, and the guests also really will be telling us other alternative means also really in relation to the ongoing protests. And I don't understand that solely there is a planned one also which is coming up, but we are saying all this may not also really be able to sort of solve the problems of the country in there. And what other alternatives can they use to make sure that their problems or their grievances are addressed is where we want to engage you, the viewer. Feel free to drop your comments on our comment sections. For those of you watching us online on YouTube, feel free to drop that comment in there. On Facebook as well, we are there. And not forgetting TikTok plus X. Still, we can be able to solely read your comment through in there. All you do on X is quite simple. Tag us and also really let us know your comment, and I will be in position to solely go through it later on in there. That way we need to now begin up the discussions. I want to introduce the guest. He is none other than Awais Sami Abdul Majid. He is a lawyer within Arua City, and also really one passionate youth about issues pertaining the youth also in there. You're most welcome.
Thanks for the invitation. To repeat it, my name is Awais Abdul Majid Shami. I'm a lawyer, and I practice with Odam and Company Advocates within Arua City. And then I'm one of the few youth who have been part of the recent march to Parliament, and particularly for Arua. Ours for Arua was the march to Arua City. It was a protest against the rising levels of corruption within Uganda, particularly government of Uganda.
Okay.
Thank you.
First things first, before we go into the discussion pertaining also the youths and why the youths must engage themselves in corruption. Yesterday but one, it was on Saturday, where the country also really witnessed a lot of misery, where we lost innocent souls that died in the Chitez landfill. What can you say about that? Was it an issue of negligence, or what was it really, where we lost innocent souls in that dumping site?
Actually, coming from the field of the law, I would actually pin government for criminal negligence, particularly KCCA. That field was allocated for dumping waste within Kampala in 1991, and then it worked for all that long and for over 20 years, and it was supposed to be stopped around 2011. That's when the place was not good for dumping more waste, and even recently in January the Lord Mayor visited the same place, stating that the place is still not good for dumping rubbish, and it was a disaster that is supposed to happen. And just on the weekend, we have lost at least 23 right now. 23 people have died just because someone neglected and someone didn't do his part. Yet there was a prayer warning from politicians and all stakeholders. That's why, for me, I'm not by this idea that it was just a disaster. It was criminal negligence in that government is supposed to be blamed for the death of everyone who has died and those who have been injured, and even the properties that have been destroyed. So government must come, and even the 5 million shillings that are promised to people who lost their lives and 1 million shillings for those who got injured, I think it's not enough, being that it was negligent in the first place and it was the government to take care of all those people who have been affected by disasters. Okay. That is my position on it.
Okay, what can you say about the rescue mission also, which we did see happening in there? Because many people are complaining the grader took longer to come to this also rescue of the people in there. What can you say about the rescue mission also of what we call this emergency maybe respondents?
Just like other sectors, I think even the Ministry of Disaster Preparedness, I think it has doesn't have enough personnel to handle most of these disasters. I've seen the president giving orders to KCCA, to UPDF. I think UPDF, they are not qualified in disasters. Something like rubbish, clearing people from in all that mess. And I think even the people at the scene on Saturday, they clearly stated that when they alerted KCCA and all those people engaged in it, that people are still alive and calling them on phone, but they took long to respond. Now that we have a few have been rescued and many people are still dying, and it is believed that over 100 people are still trapped inside, I think those people who are supposed to rescue those who have been affected, they have not done enough. Okay. They have not done enough, and I think by now most of those who are trapped inside are dead now. We're just going to remove dead bodies. You're not going to rescue another person. You're just going to remove dead bodies. Nothing much.
Okay, that is where we are going to be leaving the discussion, but we want to still extend our condolence message to the people who are affected in that disaster in there. May the souls of those departed ones also rest in eternal peace. And to those who are still also within the health facilities undergoing treatment, we want to wish quick recovery to them in there, because that is what we can offer at the moment. And that is where also we need to also make sure that we are also doing that in there. And that is where we are going to be discussing also now issues pertaining the World Youth Day. And remember, the national celebrations already are ongoing. That is in Soroti City, where the President, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, today is expected to be the chief guest, also already in Soroti in there, and that is where we are going to be celebrating the Youth Day, which is already a global ceremony, also already for the world in there. But now today, many people do not know what the Youth Day is all about. And first things first, we need to understand who is a youth. And today, many of the issues already, if you look at the environment right now, it is actually a political one where we're seeing people now preparing, and many of them are actually targeting the youth because of their majority population. But who exactly is the youth? And why must the youth solely celebrate this day? Because it looks like a normal day. In Arua City, I want to say it looks like a normal day. Many people are not also minding of this day, and many of the times people do not actually celebrate this day. Why is that so, in your opinion? And who exactly is youth first?
In my opinion, I think a youth is a person who is above the age of 18, and the maximum age is 45 years. So someone within the age bracket of 18 years to 45 can be called a youth. Today, Youth Day celebrations, it was started actually in 1999 by the United Nations. And every year, all over the world, people have been celebrating this day. And the purpose for this Youth Day celebration is to engage the youth to be active in management and governance. The reason why it should be celebrated is that actually it was brought up to engage the youth to be totally involved in governance and politics. The reason why it is just the normal days, because for Uganda, for the girls of Uganda, maybe particularly Arua, the youth actually have been put aside. They have been put aside. If you look at our leadership structure within Arua and West Nile, you'll see that most of our leaders here in Arua are above 60, starting from Member of Parliament is above 45, so he's not even a youth. The mayor is not even a youth. The president of Uganda is not a youth. Most of our ministers are old. And nowadays, even engaging in politics is something very hard.
Okay, but one would ask, why have the youth also left themselves sidelined? Why are they not engaging actively in the activities of decision making? Who exactly is that the mess?
The people, you know, it is very clear that the reason why the youth are not involved, for us, I think we are the second last batch of people who are studying, being taught political education. I think that was around 2015. So it was scrapped off in 2016. And it was so good that from, if you leave primary education, you join secondary, the O level, you had a chance to study political education, in that even you'll be involved in the affairs of your country. Now it is unfortunate that the people who came after 2016, from 2017, who joined senior one, they didn't have the opportunity to study political education, meaning that even at the youngest stage, many people they are not involved in politics of this country. That is on education background. The second,
now somebody would ask, why is it that the youths are not actively engaging themselves in politics? And today when you look at this, the environment around, many youths are actually not also really engaging in activities of criminality. Many of them actually do that. Look at the Kanguras, mention the names like Fire Eaters, mention names like the Hitia Boys. Most of them are actually youths, and they are actually the ones pinned behind the criminality. Why is it that now I want us to relate to the theme, which is skills development, skills development for enhancement of youth opportunities? Is it possible? Looking at the skilling centers that are already in place today, because government has come up with so many initiatives to skill the youth. And looking at the regional, what we call the regional skilling centers in the Western sub-region, we have about two. One in Zombo, and then the other is also in Germany, where we are also seeing many youths today undergoing skills. Is it enough for the development of the youth authority? Maybe in terms of skills, is it enough?
I think skilling youth is something good. It is good for the youth, in that even our education sector, most of it is somehow theoretical, in that you do most of the classroom work, and skilling is not enough. It is evident that if you skill people, they'll get something from it. The first thing is that even these most of the youth are engaged in border business. Border business, most of them learn how to just even ride a motorcycle, and they're earning money from it. Actually, most of the youth are within Arua City or even West Nile, they're engaged in border. However, that's not enough. What is the biggest industry? The biggest industry that can accommodate youth in Uganda, most especially in West Nile. As we can see, we are in an agriculture economy whereby we have a lot of land. The land is enough in West Nile. Actually, most of it is not yet cultivated. So the skilling, if it's in Adjumani and Zombo, what of districts like Madiokolo, districts like...
These are regional centers which also welcome people from the other districts to train them.
I'm not saying West Nile is big actually in terms of size and numbers. That's why I'm saying if it's in Adjumani and Zombo, and West Nile is actually bigger than some countries. West Nile as a region is bigger than some countries. If there are only 2 skilling centers, and what is the capacity of those centers, the 2 of them? Can they accommodate more than 1,000 people in West Nile? It's not enough. And the biggest population in West Nile or in Uganda is the youth, meaning that at least every district should have had one. How many districts in West Nile? There are 9. At least we should have like 9 of them, and even the capacity to accommodate more than 1,000 people annually. And now the second one is, as I told you before, that West Nile is still in agriculture economy whereby we survive food and something like that. And how many demonstration farms do you have in West Nile? To at least even those engaged in farming, they can go learn better skills of farming, using machines and what. I think if you add skills to what people are having right now, it would be at an advantage to the youth. They would stop other things they're doing and engage in skillful businesses, and it will change their livelihoods.
Okay, now that brings me to the question, do you think the skillings can address the challenge of what we call the recent spate of criminality witnessed in the city? Recently, we also have a university where now the community members had to come out by themselves to arrest these criminals, most of whom were youth. You cannot also run away from the fact. Most of them were youth. We saw people arrested from your area and also from the different parts of the city, where we saw the community members coming out to arrest this. But do you think in 1 minute it is enough also to skill the youth now to also address the challenge?
First
Other than giving them handouts, because most of the youth now are saying, most of them actually targeting the political period, with many saying they will wait for the leadership who will give them the most money, and that is what they are going to be voting.
At least, maybe the wording or the language used against the youth, calling them criminals, it's not befitting to their status, because there's presumption of innocence. All those people who have been arrested are just suspects, and I have gone to court many times, and most of them are there. Others are being acquitted, others are being released on bail, others, even the files have never been sanctioned. So at least right now we cannot say the youth are criminals. But as maybe we can see with facts, there's a lot of criminality. At least 2 months ago, there's a lot of criminality that was taking place. Many people are losing their properties and lives because people are grabbing funds from them. And what is the reason behind that? What is the reason behind that? Arua, I think 10 years ago, when we were still in primary education, we didn't have these gangs within Arua city. Why? The reason why there's a lot of criminality in Arua is because most of these people, there's a lot of school dropout, people who are supposed to be in school, not even working. You find most of the people who have been arrested are actually below 20 years. Below 20 years, according to the standards of Uganda, that person is supposed to be in school studying. At 20 years, I think me and you, we are in for our vacation and we joined campus the next year. Meaning that if you keep most of these children in schools, the criminality will just reduce. And if they're out of school, in holidays, and even if they are studying, what can they do? What can stop them from criminality? One, skilling is enough. In that if you stop in senior 4 and they skill you how to engage in farming, in welding, many electricity, even other things, even sports, skilling them. Skilling is not just physical, touching wires and stuff. No, it's more than that. They can skill you even intellectually. Now for me, I'm a lawyer. I don't touch anything. I just touch a pen. I just use a pen and my brain. I was skilled in that field. So the youth can be engaged in a lot of things. Music is there, talent is there. So most of those boys who are who have been arrested, and even those who are still there, I think it's so early for us to judge them, but we can skill them because these are the children. We can't keep them in prison.
But we can skill them from prison, because we have seen people graduating from prisons.
No, prison. No. You cannot skill them from prison. We can just rehabilitate them. We have rehabilitation centers, and we can just put up many things, and they can actually join.
Okay.
Yes.
We are 2 minutes after 8 o'clock. We are going to be taking another short commercial break that will be also returning us back into the second hour, which we're already running into. But we want to say, if you are out there as a youth, this day is actually yours, where you must interest yourselves in understanding what continues to happen also within your life, because the youthful stage is actually one that plays a critical role in your life. But that is where many youths are not also celebrating this day. We take a short commercial break and we bounce back shortly.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region. West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from a short commercial break. We are 6 minutes after 8 o'clock, which is our second hour and our final hour, of course, and we are still discussing the International Youth Day, which is also really today, and Uganda will be celebrating this from Soroti City, where also really I will be letting you know who exactly is there, but I want to inform you that the president is expected to be there as the chief guest. And today we want to see how the youth also can change their mindset also in there, and today we are talking about skills development. And skills development can actually take place in so many areas, which you did also mention there. You said it can actually be intellectually or physically in there. That means already we must skill the youth, so that already instead of pinning them as criminals, they can also make sure that we also change them also in there. Today, we are getting close to 2026. Why is it now important for the youth to also really engage themselves actively in politics, other than waiting for people to come to their rescue in there with the manifestos? Why must the youth be in the lead?
Actually, the reason why the youth are left behind, actually, the reason why the youth are not engaged they're involved in how they are right now is because they have been neglected by majority of our leaders who are mostly old. You can't expect someone who is 60 years or 65 and above to start thinking about someone who is below 45 years old. They look at the youth as a threat to their positions, because some want to live forever, some want to live the same positions to their children and stuff, something like that. So if 2026 is approaching, it's just barely 1 year or 2 years. And
they're about 16 months now.
16 months now, that's less than 2 years. So I think it's the right time the youth should involve themselves in politics, seriously, from the LC levels, because we have seen most of the youth are not involved. Most of the LCs we have, LC ones, they're actually 60 years, 70 years, and they cannot add much now to Uganda. You're 70 years, you can't add more value to Uganda. There's nothing that you can give to Uganda that someone who's 30 years cannot give, just being LC. From LC to LC3, LC5, even president. This is the right time people should wake up and join politics and become the MPs we are having today. Become MPs, because, for example, I'm just even less than 30 years. If I become an MP, it means that I'll think beyond 30 years. Maybe.
But people think that when you entrust the youths, they are going to be using this money for other activities. If at all it's a man, they are going to be using it for women. If it's a lady, they're going to be spending it on men. That is the mentality society has about also certain groups of the people in there. What can you say about that?
That is a wrong mentality. First of all, the current president, when he became president when he was 44 years, maybe just 1 year, ceasing to become a youth, but it was 44 years. Most of our leaders, most of our independence, post-colonial leaders we had, were actually youth. The Kwame Nkrumahs, the Sekou Tourés, were actually below 45 years, even the Mandelas we're talking about. They engaged in serious politics when they are still at their youth stage. The current president we're having was actually involved in politics at a very younger age. Mubisha Muntu, the current president, he was Army commander at 37 years. Army commander, not just any other person, was Army commander at 37 years. We have European countries that are led by youth. The current president of a nuclear state, North Korea, is a youth. Is even below 40 years. Have they gone to war? No. Is their country safe? Yes. Is the economy good? Yes. So we have tested youth in many countries, and they have performed well. The current opposition leader in South Africa is a youth. Is he mismanaging his party, and is he leading the party well? Yes. So that is just the way of diverting youth from things they're supposed to be doing to things that don't add value. If someone is below 45 years, he can do or even do better than any other person who is above 45 years. So there's nothing like you're going to use the money badly. That one goes to your principles as an individual. The youth also know not everyone is going to stand and be voting. If I stand for president or MP You'll assess me based on my abilities previously, where I was working, whether I'm fit to become what I want to be, or any other youth. So these issues of saying you're going for women, there's no age whereby a man can be stopped from engaging with women. Even those in 70 years, we have seen scenarios where they're getting married when they're 70. Does it mean that we should not vote for them because they're going to engage in women? Perhaps all of us, even if you're youth or what, you're supposed to have a woman with you. That's why God created both female and male, so that we can procreate. That is the purpose.
Okay.
Yes.
Now I want us to come back to Arua City. One observation has been that many youths are into criminality. That is something we did see happening also recently in there. And now I want to ask, what could be the best skill maybe for the youth, solely for Arua City in particular, to undergo? Because looking at areas like also really San Siro, you move to areas like Kirabo, you move to areas like Air Japan. These have been termed also to be criminal hotspots. And today at least now security has come out and also made arrest. And where the community members also supported in arresting these suspected criminals, where something now, which has brought in peace in the area, so now we can freely move with our phones. But that was something which we didn't see of late, where people could hardly move with their smartphones in their hands, where people could hardly move with their handbags. Women were suffering. What could be the best skill, in your own opinion, for the youth, particularly in Arua City?
I think it's sometimes it's not even about the skills, but we look at, I'm not a security expert, but there are some things, if you're going to fight criminality, if you're going to fight crime, you look at the background, what causes criminality, what causes it, why are youth involved in stealing and doing stuff like that. The reason why most of these boys who are on the streets are actually young, I told you earlier, I repeat my submissions. Those youth, these are family breakdowns, and then after family breakdowns, there is a dropout from schools. So if someone is, the family is not good, is not at school, what do you expect that person to be doing? Even if he's skilled, he's not guided, he's not educated, he's not fit to do something that can bring him money, something like that. So there's no nurturing.
But there's nurturing.
There's
one observation, Sami, you know it, that these boys also have role models amongst themselves. There are those suspected criminals who have built houses from money obtained out of criminal activities.
No, that one is about, that is the work of the police. That is the work of the police, and police has the right, has the powers to call you.
Okay.
To call you, and even...
what about the generations that they have mentored? Because we have this, we always interact with them at least once in a while. They tell us, they open up to us that these are people who also really, who inspire them. And we have seen also recently the society coming out to arrest most of them, and now I'm asking most of them are now being arrested. Where is the challenge? Where is the gap exactly?
The gap is, I told you, the security must the reason why someone, I cannot, today, Sammy, I cannot work for, I just graduated last year. I cannot work for 1 year and I have land that is worth 100 million or more than that, unless I inherited it. But police has the right, or the security agencies have the right to start investigating how this person is getting their money. It is within the law. They can investigate and see how is this person getting money and something like that. Or even our leaders, they can assess themselves and they start skilling people, and then even we should have even role models in society. For me, the time I grew up, I had my role models because these are people I looked at. And role models are people who get their money legally, not just someone coming out of the blue and then saying it's rich. No, no, no. But the youth can be skilled. It's not late. They're below 30, or even if they're above 30, but they can still be skilled. They can. I have a lot of hope in them, and they can be skilled.
Okay, that is your own opinion. And what are those skills maybe you feel, in particular, should be channeled to Arua City? Because me, I would say sports, because West Nile is known as a sports region. That would be my own. I don't know what yours could be.
Yes. The skills differ. The skills you give to Arua cannot be given to Karamoja or something like that, because the environments are totally different. As you said, I think there's no region in this country that has talent like West Nile. But when you're mentioning the best 10 sports persons of the year, we are not there. There's no one, absolutely no one. So it means that there's a lot of gap that has missed. We don't have sports facilities. The government can come up with them. We should have maybe more sports facilities, talent involvement, not only in sports, but even music, entertainment industry. Nowadays, people earn money from social media. People can be musicians, can be actors and actresses. So they can get money from there. Even hand skilling, giving people skills like welding, people can gain a lot from them. I think that is the best way people can get their money.
Okay, that is it in relation to those issues. And now leadership is actually one of those areas where I feel the youths have not actively engaged themselves enough. And many of them are now waiting for this period and saying whoever lied to us in the previous election should not come to them right now. And then to the new politicians, the saying has been, whoever will not give me a certain amount of money that I want. And most of them are now targeting border. That if this person does not buy them a motorcycle, they're not going to maybe voting for this person here. What does this put also really at? Where does it put the youth when it comes to issues of service delivery? And how exactly is this going to be also really impacting on them?
I'm one kind of person who doesn't buy this idea that a politician is supposed to give you something for you to vote for them. The only thing a politician is supposed to give you is his words, what he tells you. The assurance, the promises, and nothing else sort of that. Because where is the politician going to get the money to buy you border borders? How many are you? Even if you are 10, how much is the border? Average, let me say 3 million. Where is the person going to get the 300 million to buy for all of you border borders? It's not sustainable. And even if he does it, it means he's going to be corrupt when he gets to office. He's going to be corrupt when he gets to office because he has to recover. Most of these politicians don't have the money to fund these campaigns. That's why you see many of them that they're into hiding. I'm a lawyer, I've been chasing many. They have not been paying their mortgages, and they borrow from almost everyone. That's why they can easily be bought in parliament. We have seen a lot of money exchanging hands in parliament just because the politicians invested a lot. You cannot invest 500 million in just the campaigns and expect the same person you ate money from to just go to parliament and sit. If the president wants something to be passed or any other politician, not even the president, I can have my bill and I want it to be passed. Recently, the GMOs were to be introduced in Uganda. I think it's easy for an MP to just stand and say, yes, let them be introduced and we do away with our local seeds. No. So it means if a politician is engaged in giving money or properties or any other thing to the youth to be voted, it means he has to get his money back. And it is wrong both for the youth and even the country at large. So I don't buy this idea of you saying that if you don't give me anything, I'll not vote for you. It is very wrong. It is totally wrong from them. However, they can do better by themselves engaging in politics. Why can't one of them stand? Last election, we had the Adad Salim. Adad Salim is even below 35. He stood as MP, though many people supported him, but the actual winner was someone who's far older than him, is not even a youth. So if the youth want to be engaged in politics, let them vote themselves. Let them vote themselves. The woman MP should be young, the MP should be young, even the Lord Mayor should be young.
But the woman MP for us is young. The young people maybe trusted her.
And even besides the age, they should vote someone who is competent. I'm one of the people who insists that West Nile has got the most incompetent leaders in Uganda, the most incompetent leaders in everything. Even corruption, we are incompetent. We hear scandals, people stealing 100 billion. There's no West Nile MP. You hear people presenting bills, whether good or bad, there's no West Nile.
But we saw the censor motion being pushed by the MP. One of the MPs was from West Nile.
That's a drop in an ocean. He's one. Actually, Audrey is being fought by most of the West Nile MPs for doing something good. Can you imagine? You're one of the most outstanding MPs from this region, and it's your own MPs who are fighting you, stating that you are touching something you're not supposed to have touched. You can imagine. So it's just one. It's just a droplet in an ocean.
But we also saw other MPs from West Nile joining in the due course of the
I tried.
We saw them joining.
I tried.
They even signed. And the last person who actually was among the people who signed lastly was our MP for Central Division. He was among the last people to have penned the signature solely on this issue here.
It's just not more than just an MP is not more than just signing, because that thing is going to be debated. And if you debate, what is your submission? That's where competence comes in. Censor motion, are they prepared to debate it? Others are just going to sign and sit back. Most of our MPs from West Nile are backbenchers. I've never, one of the MPs, I've never seen them on the floor of Parliament debating. I've not seen one even presenting a bill. This is just a motion. I've not even seen one presenting a bill or seconding one. I've not seen them. That's why the youth, when they are voting, they should vote for their fellow youth. However, even amongst themselves, they should choose the best person who has interests of MPs, of the best interests of the youth, not just voting anyone. Just because you got money, or just because that person looks nice, or just because that person from the same tribe or religion, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this today, when we talk about this day, what are some of those areas where you feel the government needed to empower the youth, apart from the skillings? What should they do to the youths?
Mentorship. Mentorship. Most of the youth are not mentored. I'll bet on it that you can go to most of the schools. We don't have serious career departments in West Nile. At least in Kampala, we have an entire office, careers department. But in Arua, it is not there. At least I've moved to schools, and when during parent meetings, I've not seen the careers master. I don't know career mistress. We just study for the sake of studying, that I'm studying to be just, there's no one who mentors you. At least where I studied from, we are mentored from day one. Even choosing combinations. We are mentored by teachers, we are mentored by our fellow students, we are mentored by OBs, and even national, we are mentored both on social media and even this traditional media. So there's a lot of mentorship is lacking in West Nile, and those who are already, if you're a doctor, you don't mentor other people to join you in that same field. So there's a lot, mentorship is lacking in that field. Two, even where to practice from. Even if you get the skills, where are you going to practice from? For example, if 1,000 people are now good at wielding and what, where are they going to work from? So there's market for the skills of the same people. What if we have nurtured many, we have skilled many youth? Where are they going to put their skills? So government still has to come with other programs and projects, so that even after skilling them, they have where to, for example, these people who in art and craft, they can create market outside, so that after making their things, and they can sell them at some good price. I think that is it.
Okay, that is it in relation to the empowerment, and today we want to see how best the youth can be empowered, and the running program also the government is running out right now in terms of poverty eradication is the PDM, Policy Development Model. In your own opinion, how much and to what extent have the youth been involved in these poverty eradication programs?
I've got a chance of, I tried reading through PDM, that PDM, but I've never gotten the motives behind it, because it looks more, people, there's sensitization has not been enough, because I've seen mostly the people actually who are above 45 are the ones going for it, and they don't know the purpose of that, of PDM. Sensitization is not there. If even myself, at least, who can read and write and understand on my own, I don't have not understood the motive of PDM. Is it like something like a SACCO, mortgage, something like that? And people, actually, many people think that money is for just like the president giving it free of charge to people. But what they don't know is that that money can actually, is refundable. You're supposed to refund it. You're supposed to refund it, but it is a good thing if people are sensitized about it, and people are skilled first. You first skill a person, then give him money. If I'm not employed today, I'm not skilled, and you give me 10 million, what am I going to do with that money? Obviously, I'm going to pay bride price that I didn't finish. I'm going to buy hoofers, go entertainment, something like that. So you can't give someone money before skilling them. That is my opinion, but I think it's too late. So
to what extent do you think government has involved the youth? In your own opinion, are they aware of the PDM, or the Policy Development Model? Are they actively engaged in that? Because I was able to also really see, why I'm asking this question is because recently over the weekend, I was able to move in some of the areas in Ivy Division, where I was also in one of the villages where I realized Policy Development meeting was ongoing. But the men were not there. The youth, also the fellow boys were not there. It was only the women. What does that say about the Policy Development Model? Is the involvement of the youth really enough?
That's why I said sensitization is not enough.
And who is supposed to sensitize the youth now? Because we have seen government coming out on the radios, on the TVs, on social media, also to ask the youth and talk to them about Spanish development model. But many are still not involved in that.
Actually, nowadays many people are not involved in traditional media, on TV
But
stations.
we have seen government also bring the same message on social media.
It's not enough. Those days we used to, when you're studying, we used to have these promotions like this of Coca-Cola. They used to have these promotions, they come with a lot of music so that people can come together.
But we have seen road drives.
Still,
I must say, we have had road drives.
No, at least I've not seen enough. I've not seen enough, to be
honest.
So
in other words, you think the information is not enough?
The information is not reaching the people. The reason why the women are going there is because women already have their women groups. That's why they can easily go and get money. But after, even those women groups, the circles are mostly infiltrated by women. At least I'm in some few circles, but most of them are infiltrated by women, and that's why the women are there to get the money. But the men, they're not much into that. I think men have not been engaged into that, and even the youth. So there's less sensitization about that, but as I said earlier, skilling should come first before giving people money.
But in what we call financial literacy?
Financial literacy is not there, so it's hard.
So what would be your message for the male youth out there who are not engaged in these government education programs, who look at it as a waste of time? Because many of them are not aware, as you said, about the Paris development model. What would be your message to them in relation to what we call the Paris development model also and other government programs as we celebrate the Youth Day?
Celebrating Youth Day, the government should, as I said, I just insist on sensitization and more drive so that people are engaged in it. And government should identify that, that's why I said, you skill people differently. You can't skill the people of Arua just like people of Karamoja. Not everyone is going to become a farmer, no. I'm into farming, but not everyone is going to be a farmer. So you have to skill them according to what they have. Me, I said, the budget for PDM is actually very big. Put for youth, I said, put sports facilities for them. People can get money from that. You have seen countries whereby even 10% of national budget is just supported by sports, music and dance. So it's there, entertainment, people can become musicians, they can get money from social media. They can get money from X, money from YouTube and like that. So if they sensitize them, they should not just squeeze PDM to a particular sector, whereby it is just a few people, a few sectors that you are supposed to use this money for this. So if that money, if they can be sensitized and tell them that, you know what, you can use this money for this, use this money for this, you can buy borders, you can go and get like 15 million, you buy 5 borders. 5 borders bring almost 100,000 per week. It is enough. It is enough for a group to go on.
Okay, so finally, as we get to close with the discussions, we just left about 2 minutes to wind up with the discussions. And today, the preparations also really for the Youth Day celebrations are already complete, and we are going to be seeing this day going on. That is at Asuret Primary Teachers College playgrounds, where this is also in Asuret sub-county, that's in Soroti City. And what would be your message? What do you expect the president to also address the nation on as we celebrate this day? What are some of those key messages that you feel and you also expect to come out to the president today?
The president, as usual, you know how he communicates.
When it comes to the youth now, what do you think would be his message?
There's nothing much he's going to say. He has been all over. He has been saying the same thing. He's going to talk about patriotism. He's going to give us some history, brief history. So it's just the same thing, and he's going to say that the youth, the protests we organized, we should not be involved in them, that the youth are being used by other people. But they should play their part. They should play their part. He's just going to be there to intimidate people, and there's nothing much I expect.
Okay, finally, what would be your message to the public?
My message to the public that we should be the youth. It's their time. It's our time actually, because I'm a youth. It's our time to be involved in almost everything. How this country is run, how the politics of this country, the economy of this country, almost everything should be run by the youth. It's our time. These people who are above 55 years, there's nothing much they can offer to this country. There's nothing much. I believe if you have lived for 60 years, there's nothing much you're going to add to this country for the next 10 years that you didn't do for the last 60 years. There's nothing much. So it's our time, and we should be involved actively, and no one should threaten us, and no one should intimidate or try to tell you that you cannot do it. All of us can do it, and you should be part of it. Because if the old people make the mistakes, whom are you going to blame? So it is upon us to be involved actively in everything we are doing, whether government programs, whether opposition programs, as long as they are lawful. So we should be involved in almost everything.
Okay, we already have passed, that is 8 o'clock. That means we are also left with just 30 minutes to wind up with today's discussions. And I'm still also really with Sami Abdul-Majid, a lawyer within Arua City, and the youth, as we discuss issues pertaining the global youth, what we call the World Youth Day, which is also really an annual event that comes every 12th of the month of August, which is today. That means the world also really is celebrating the youth today. And today when we talk about the youth, these are people who are actually below, I shouldn't say around 45 or 35, around there. And that's only where we need to now celebrate our youth full time, very, very much importantly in there. And where we need to also strategize, because this is a time that also really transits into adulthood, that once you become an adult or an elder, definitely there's nothing more that you're going to be doing, because each and every time we talk about the youth, because it is the youth that have the energy, it is also really them that are the majority population in there. And that is where I want to thank Sami so much for talking to the people about this day. And I want to say thank you so much for coming through on this Monday and also talk to the people and sharing your thoughts on this day in there. And I hope to also have you again next time, and that's where we are going to be also starting with the discussions. And up next, I will be giving you hints of what continues to happen internationally, and I will also be touching something small about also what is happening in the world of sports. And before I let Sami go off, he is a sports lover. What can you say about the games also that happened yesterday, and also the game that continue to happen? And we are going to be seeing the Premier League returning anytime from now. And in Uganda, we are still having the Super 8, which is also really running on. What can you say in just 1 minute in the world of sports, because I understand you're a sports lover?
I am a sports lover. I'm a fan of Onduparaka FC. I'm a fan of Arsenal, Barcelona. So Premier League is getting back. I'm happy that Manchester United lost the weekend. I'm just happy. This weekend was so good for me. Manchester United lost, and I'm happy.
Okay.
Arsenal also won. Is friendly, and we are busy in the market. And I think Arsenal is going to win Premier League this season. Barcelona will win the La Liga and Champions League. So I'm just happy, and I'm happy that our weekends are going to be back to normal.
I expected that, because Arsenal fans can never side with what we call Manchester United fans, and that is clearly expected, and he has actually clearly given out that, and that is something I expected out of him. We take a short commercial break, and we bounce back with discussions later on.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region. West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from that short commercial break. Now we want to wish each and every youth out there happy World Youth Day, and today we are going to be celebrating that day, and that brings and also tells of the excitement that we are having today, because this is actually one of those very much important days that we must honor in our lives, because as a youth out there, definitely the youthful stage is actually one that plays a critical role, because if you do nothing within your youthful stage, usually we say do not expect much at the time, also you being an elder or a grandfather in there, because that time you do not have the energy. And that is why I want to remind the fellow youths out there, as we are into this youthful stage, we must make sure that we do the right things at the right time, because the youthful stage is actually the right time for us to do certain things in there. And that's where I want now to begin up our discussions in the final hour, in the final minutes of the hour in there, with also what continues to happen within the region and also really international in there. Because when you talk about what continues to happen in the region, recently on Friday we did see also really our people from the region also really bidding farewell to what we call the reshuffled police officers. This was a function that we did see happening on Saturday, where the region also really now bid farewell to the reshuffled police officers, and who also really got promoted, with others also really being transferred in there. And that was also really in a mega party that we did see happening at Tropical Suits, where family members also really joined the group. Also, we did see the politicians and technical section of the leaders from Arua City and West Nile sub-region joining the police officers also to bid farewell in there, something which I must say was quite interesting and quite good also to see, because the police officers who have also been here for a long period of time, we also really, it is actually befitting to also really give them that decent, what we call handover, and also really welcome ceremony for the new people who are coming in also to serve the region in there, because it was quite interesting, because these people have done quite a tremendous job, which deserves also to be appreciated in my own opinion. And we did see senior names like Josephine Anguchia, the former police public relations officer for West Nile sub-region, also will be going for school, and that is where we did see also really also among the guests and also among the celebrants of this day. This was quite interesting. And what about the regional police commander? Also really about, that's Afande Eddie Serunjoji, also really, who left the region, leaving the region also really for the son of the soil, that is Dennis Ochama, who also takes over as the regional police commander, plus many other departments. The regional CID is going, the regional ICT officer as well. That office also already has, those two offices also already have new officers coming on board, and that means we must also welcome them in what we call in a mega party, and also tell them at West Nile sub-region, yes indeed, is actually where they are going to be working also with lovable people, with people who love, also with people who are jolly in there. That means that party was also really quite interesting. And I want to say to those who got promoted, congratulations. For those who got reshuffled, still reshufflement, also transfers are part of life. Wherever you're moving, you know, just know that West Nile is going to be missing you, and West Nile will also continue to love and appreciate your work in there. That means wherever you're going, that service may be needed in there. Go make do the what exactly you are doing here, or do better. Start solely by the time you are going to be leaving that place. You must live as a hero, as you are living at Arua City today. And that means for those who are coming, must know that they are coming to a place where people appreciate whatever is to be done by police. And that means policing, as they're doing their police work, we must make sure that we work shoulder by shoulder or hand in hand with them. Started solely, we achieve everything as a region in there. That means I must also really welcome those officers who actually got transferred in there, and that means we are now going to be following up on and also really see how exactly these new officers who are taking over the shoe also really seeing exactly what they will be doing in there. That means we must also welcome them in a special way, and at the end of the day, that will be quite well in there. And leaving that story aside, a section of MPs and what we call under what we call as a committee, and what we call the government assurance committee, have tasked the government to also expedite the process of compensating the former people who were affected during the Lord Resistance Army insurgency in northern Uganda in their Western sub-region, who are now complaining. And remember, recently we did see this coming out and also asked government to compensate them. Now a section under that committee has now tasked government to expedite the process, and that would also see the over 1,000 people be compensated in there, because it's now long overdue that these people have been demanding for them to be compensated. But who exactly is supposed to be compensating them is what we also need to understand in there, because many people have actually lost a lot of money in there, and that's what we did see also being a claim. And today we are seeing now government also being asked to now expedite the process. Now the committee on Thursday, August 8th, in 2004 held a meeting that's in Arua City with West Nile Koni war victims and other people affected also by the insurgencies in the region over their compensation. And these are people who are mostly the business community who were also moving onto this road, who also lost a lot of property, and others already got injuries during this same insurgency. And today now, under their umbrella body of West Nile Koni war victims, they continue to demand the government. And last year around June, we did see this post already moving and also the protesting just outside the president's home in Arua City, and demanding for the process also to also have them be compensated in there, because they claim the person who was in that office by then had all the documents to also really make sure that their compensation is actually done. And this was the principal officer who was in the office of the sole responsive office, who was actually to oversee their process also in there. Now the man is not there. What are we expecting? And are we going to be expecting this same person whom they are claiming also demanding for them to be compensated in there also now do the same? Definitely, I believe that person could have gone, but the office has not gone. The new person also still has the mandate of following up on this process, and has the mandate of also making sure these people are compensated, because many of them claim they lost a lot of monies, and that also had a lot of problems on them, and many of them also demand the government because they feel they have been left out. Other areas have already been compensated. For instance, areas like Karamoja, they did receive the animal, actually also did as well, and now West Nile also really feels being left out, and that's where we're saying these people should be compensated such that so they can be able to get their monies which they also lost during that insurgency in there. Now Joyce Baga and Twatwa, the committee vice chairperson who led the team to West Nile, said rule number 179 also gives the mandate for the committee to follow on government pledges already in there. And the particular visit is also to war claimants in Western sub-region, actually Langote, Swansea sub-regions, also ready to have those already make sure that their claims are paid. And that's one thing also we did see Joyce Bagal also really telling the people in there. Now she said that the list need to be verified, and those who are demanding kickbacks should also really ensure that they desist from the practice. And that's also where we are saying inflations must be avoided in there, because this was actually threatened also really to drag government to court in there. But now we are saying the matter is now being followed by legislators, because it is actually them to also make sure that people also really have their monies also be paid in there. Now she pointed out the group led by Alex Matua, the vice chairperson of West Nile Koni victims, reported also that they are about 1,102 members, as 96 have already died also before being compensated in there. What does it mean, and what exactly should this sport do is what also we need to understand in there, because looking at Greater Nebi has about what we call 2,665 members. Some of the groups already include, that is also Moyo, Bongi and Ajuman, who have not been verified according to Joyce Bagala in there. Now she advised relatives of those who died in the process also to obtain letters of administration and ensure that their committees, also their communities that are once verified, and the government also will pay their money in there. That means they should be making sure that they give a lot of emphasis in making sure that their lists are verified before this time in. And after the committee meeting, Matua led the committee, also the chairperson Bagara, to meet those of the victims who gathered, that's the mayor's garden in Arua City, where the team led by Matua is also really demanding shillings about 99 billion from the government for the people who lost monies in there. And Simon Doma, the legal officer representing the Koni victims, say that some of the claimants and the clients who are demanding for the money have also died before receiving their benefits, despite also the several and continuous cries to have them being compensated in there. And he employed the government to hasten the process, and also by paying the victims in there. And that is one thing also which I feel should be given keen interest to, because if at all other areas are being compensated, what about West Nile, and why must West Nile also feel being left out in that? It means also maybe the process wasn't a bit transparent, That means re-verifying to me would also be quite well, and that would also be a solution to addressing the concerns and also the challenges that continue to also hasten there, and also there are challenges in there. That means we must also make sure that the problems also that have been affecting their conversation also must be addressed in there by doing what exactly also is expected out of them, and that would also address the delays in having them being compensated in there. And I will be leaving that aside and also looking at also what continues to happen elsewhere. And over the weekend, towards the weekend on Friday, we also did see non-governmental organizations like Care International coming up in partnership with also other local organizations, for instance, Seford and also Feminature, to also launch a project worth also billions in there that is also going to support women in northern Uganda, particularly in districts of also Terego and cities such as Arua City and Gulu, where women will be supported also in issues of empowerment in there. That is quite well. We did see that happening, and I believe also this project also is going to be addressing the challenges also in what we call gender disparity, because today many women feel left out in terms of gender equality in there, and that is also something which we are going to be also letting you know, and what exactly also it will be coming in relation to that project, and that more details to that will be coming through also in the subsequent news programs. For instance, Lebangea, which will be coming at midday, and before that, Eolas also still shall be coming. That is for the Lubera speaking community, just some few minutes from now. That will be also taking place at 9 a.m. And then other programs which are also there to keep you entertained and educated also will be still coming through in the due course of the day. And I really want to say these programs are all to keep you informed and also in the know of what continues to transpire in West Nile sub-region. And as clearly seen on your screens, that is Fete Emmanuel, the news anchor for Liberty. He is already in the building, and he will be also letting you know what transpired over the weekend, and also what will be coming through in the due course of the week in there. And that's where I want to ask the Lubera speaking community now to keep waiting for that program also to come shortly from now, as many other programs will continue to happen in there. And I really want to ask you now as the viewer to keep waiting, because as West Nile Television, our number one mandate remains, that is to keep you informed and entertained as well, and also that is also in all aspects of life, where we must also really make sure that we do not leave anybody out, and to leave anybody out, that is quite unfortunate. And today also, as we are getting to also closer to the end of the term, and I really want to say, as we are celebrating this Youth Day, we must honor education. And today many of the parents are actually neglecting their parental duties of paying school fees for their children, and that's where we also seeing the children also ending up as criminals, and many of them actually not also want to become criminals, and they are just forced by situations. And that's why we're saying, parents, we must not also neglect our duties. That is also really of making sure that we also raise good children, because to raise good children also does not also just come from the parents. What about the society? Today we see many children also not actively engaging in education, with many also really running away from school. How exactly should this also really be helped? That is where I need your view and I need your opinion as the viewer. So feel free to drop that comment on our comment section, and I will be also letting you know that in the next hour, and I will be sharing it with the rest of the viewer out there who exactly also should be also in the waiting also of that. And that's where also I feel at the end of the day, that is where we are going to be addressing the challenges. And remember, very soon our learners are going to be returning back from school, because as we are into August, also that means very soon the learners, as per the official calendar, anytime from now we are going to be seeing the learners returning back. And that's all where we're now seeing the senior 4s already doing the mocks, and the senior 6 as well are doing the mocks. And what about the university? The learners are returning back for the first semester, and that's where we're going to be having the freshers already returning. And I really want to ask the parents, before sending your child to the university, have a time to sit with them and share with them, let them know the purpose, ask why they're going back to school, because if at all they don't understand the kind of background they're from, we may see children also ending up in drugs and also in other dubious bad activities. And that's why we're saying, as the learners at the higher institutions of learning, and not only the universities, what about the institutes? As they're returning back for their school, we must make sure that we talk to them, we guide them, we must ensure that we continuously guide them. And that's one thing also really where guidance shouldn't only stop with high school. And that is the mistake most parents make. They feel when the child now has reached the higher institution of learning, let's say university or the institutes, the person is already grown up. And that is really the mistake I feel many parents are making. And that's also where we see the learners already messing up at the institution of learning. And that's where we're saying, we must continuously guide the learners. We must continue to remind them of the background where they're coming from, and that is also where at the end of the day, we are going to be seeing the children focusing, and if they do not focus, then that is how it's going to be very dangerous for the learners to attain certain issues in there. And I feel at the end of the day, that is where also we are going to be seeing many also lagging behind in there. And that is one thing also which I really feel I need to also summarize discussion with. And now to summarize the entire discussions, I remember it was a busy weekend where we are seeing slowly by slowly sports returning, and over the weekend we also had a number of games where starting also from Uganda, we did see also the other games also going on. The secondary school also playing the tournament, and that's also where I feel I need to also keep you reminded of. And also we are seeing also nationally the Super 8 also within Uganda is still ongoing. And yesterday also we did see Sports Club Vipers also beating the Uganda Select by a 1-0, courtesy of that goal of Alan Okello, which was just loaned also in the late minutes of the game in there. And we did see that also game making Vipers also advancing to the next level in there. That means we are following up in the world of sports. And also internationally, we did see also Manchester United also after the one advantage goal in the lead, also we are unable to sort of contain the pressure where they also lost in that game in the penalty shootouts. And after 1-1 also the full time in that they went into penalties, and Manchester United was able to be knocked out of that game in there. And Arsenal also had friendly over the weekend, and that's also where we did see them also winning that game. More details to that also on what continues to happen in the world of sports will be coming through. That is from 2 to 3 p.m. on our sports program, where Owen Ezaga together with Linda Suzo will be coming through. And yesterday we also had the live broadcast of the game, that is of the Corporate League, which also was won by, that is, Heritage Hotels. And it's really unfair if we not also congratulate our neighbors, and also these are just our neighbors. We share the weather at Park Lane with them, and it's also important for us to say congratulations to Heritage Hotels, where also we did see them winning what we call the Corporate League also for this year by beating the Buganda club by a 1-0. And that is where we're saying the Buganda community lost, but they had a good run, and we did see them also chanting, and we saw them giving vibe to also really the league in there. And I really want to say we cannot also underscore them. We also want to congratulate them as well, because they did also really prove that indeed the Buganda community can do something in the world of sports. And that is where we are saying with that we come to the end of today's program, and we want to say thank you so much whoever watched us on this Monday edition. We are coming to the end, and we want to wish a happy Global Youth Day to every youth out there, and we must support the youth as we celebrate this day. And up next is the news bulletin in Lubarati with Fete Manuel, and who is already here to also let you know of what is happening in the world of Lubarati. Up next is that, and we say thank you and goodbye. We shall be bouncing back tomorrow for the same program. I'm out.